Hello. All right. So, got quite a lot to talk about with these questions here, and to help with that, I'm sending over links to uh, videos, couple pretty old ones talking about modes and what they are to an extent. Um, One video is my like an edited live reaction to somebody else's video talking about all the modes. It's not all the modes. He's basically showing the sound difference between the seven modes found in your major scale or major key or minor key. You'll end up with the same seven modes anyway. And let's see. Also, a handful of things that are on Patreon now. I was working on a metal modes course with all kinds of demonstration on how to, you know, play riffs in specific modes. Um, but then that got set aside because I changed gears and wanted to get those training programs finished. I felt like that was the most important thing. So basically, I need to get video demonstration of everything and my talking about stuff. But for the most part, it's done. There's like audio for almost everything, guitar profiles for everything, so you can hear it all already. And then some stuff like visualizing modes or scales, and how you can memorize that. So a lot of that stuff, I believe, will get answered in those videos I'm sending to you. Because yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot of stuff. So let me just look through each question and go one at a time. So what exactly is a mode and how is it different from a scale? Well, I like this description here. It's like all modes are scales, but not all scales are modes. So it's like, because like a scale is like a collection of notes, but a mode, to make it sound like a mode, you have to hit the right intervals in order for it to sound like that. And we can do some mode stuff to work on it so you can hear it better. But like, you know, if I'm playing, do you have let's say an E major scale? I'm gonna make it easier on myself and just keep it over here. Maybe I should go clean for this too. So like right there, that is your Ionian mode. I gotta go down to the seventh interval there and then come back up. Now, changing the mode, it's really about the distance from one note to the next. So I'm going to play this time Lydian. So Ionian, again, this is I'm going to kind of quickly go through it because those other videos go into more detail about things, I believe. Some of them, again, old. But like, if I start with Lydian and compare it to Ionian. So Ionian, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes. I'm going to play the seventh note an octave lower. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then back to the 1. So that's where all your intervals come from, your major scale. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the root note again. Lydian has a sharp 4. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, raise it up a half step. Now you have Lydian. Now I'll just keep going up to that. I'm just trying to make it easy on myself not to screw up and make mistakes. So compare the sound. Ionian, Lydian. So you hear that sharp 4, it stands out. Hopefully it stands out. So that's what makes it sound Lydian. So it's really what the mode is like you got your tonal center, in this case E is what I'm using, and it's how you branch out. It's like, how do you go away from that tonal center? How do you go away from home? What steps do you take? Because you could just go, you know, chromatically. And I don't know, you can call that the chromatic scale, the chromatic mode, but you know, it's just one note after the next, you know, no spaces in between anything. So really not something done very often in trying to sound like a mode. But anyway, so yeah, the Ionian mode is your major scale. When you alter things from that, that's when you get like sharp or flat intervals. Uh-oh. The computer just got funky for a second there. Looks like it's okay. Continuing on. So yeah, Mixolydian, that's another similar mode to Ionian. Mixolydian flats the 7. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then flat it. So now Mixolydian. So I can go Lydian, Ionian, then Mixolydian. I'm just changing one interval at a time. So hopefully you're hearing the difference there. And hopefully those videos I send where I'm going slower and more detailed will help out as well. Because yeah, this will be a freaking humongous video if I go into all of it. Because it's extremely detailed. It's like it's simple things about it, but it's also really complex at the same time. Probably more complex than anything. Because it's like a simple idea, but in order to understand it and internalize it and use it, that's a whole other story. So yeah, whenever you're ready to actually get into mode work and be part of the whole lesson plan, we certainly can. Just let me know. And then next, like you can have Dorian. So I'm just changing like one interval at a time. So Mixolydian, we flatted the 7 from Ionian. And now for Dorian, we flat the 3rd. So we would have a flat 3rd and a flat 7. So here is Dorian. Okay, and then Aeolian, your natural minor scale, that has a flat 3rd, flat 6, and a flat 7. So here, I'm going to play Dorian first and then Aeolian because they're very similar. So hopefully when I hit that flat 6 or minor 6th interval, same thing, it sounded darker to you because that's really kind of what happens there. It's just darker sound. So, like Aeolian mode, that's a mode you're, I'd say, very familiar with because a lot of the music that you and I listen to, Aeolian is a very common mode, along with this next one, Phrygian. So Phrygian takes that Aeolian mode and flats the 2nd. So now we have flat 2nds. Very dark, ominous sound. You want to make some mean sounding riffs, use that flat 2nd or minor 2nd. So Aeolian. Phrygian. And then Locrian is the 7th mode in your major scale stuff. So yeah, you got 7 modes that are in the major scale, and that's going to be explained in those videos as well. The Locrian has a flat 2nd, flat 3rd, flat 5, flat 6, and a flat 7. So basically everything but the 4 is flat. So if I go the modes in order you would find in key, and another thing to keep in mind is like I'm changing the key as well as the mode every single time. And that's also covered in those videos. But yeah, if I go in order that they appear in key, even though I'm changing key, we know we have Ionian first, Dorian, Phrygian, and then Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. Now, and what I like to do when I'm teaching people mode stuff and giving them worksheet things, which again, we can do that, change one interval at a time. So I'm basically going to go from Lydian to Ionian to Mixolydian, Dorian, Aeolian, Phrygian, Locrian. And then I'll go back up from Locrian to Phrygian, Aeolian, Dorian, Mixolydian, Ionian, Lydian. So it's just changing one interval at a time to go through all those. So like it'll be small changes each time. So it'll start off nice and bright and get darker and get all bright again. So I know I was going through that pretty quick, but we're gonna wind up with a huge video again if I don't. Again, watch all that stuff that I sent. Watch that stuff. Yeah. So hopefully that helped explain how the modes sound different. So it really depends on like what the tonal center is. So like if you're playing a chord progression, so let's say you're doing like standard metal thing like A5, G5, F5, back to G5. It's that standard thing. It's gonna sound Aeolian because you keep coming back to that A. Even if you just like went something like because you keep hitting that A chord or that A5 chord again and again, it's going to sound Aeolian. Now, if you're doing something like this, this is going to sound Phrygian. So even though I'm using like the same kind of scale, the solo on top of it, are the same 7 notes, because that E is the tonal center, and I'm also purposely hitting that F5 chord as well. So to really emphasize that minor second interval, the ear is going to be drawn to that E, and that's going to make it sound Phrygian. So again, it's like how you branch out around things. Now, when you're just like playing, your scales up and down, and just one after the next, it just sounds like a very long-winded major scale. It's not going to really sound like you're playing different modes because your ear isn't locked into any new tonal center. Like it has to keep going back to that. So I can play, the same 7 notes in the key of C, but if I keep focusing on that D note and hitting notes or intervals that make it sound Dorian, like the flat third and the 6. It doesn't have to be just those, but hitting the 6 enough in the minor third, that helps make it sound Dorian, because that's a very unique characteristic of Dorian. So hopefully that's making sense. What's the easiest way to memorize the 7 modes on guitar? Well, I guess that depends on, are you trying to get the mode sound or the mode shape? Because some of those, actually what is it? I got these things already pasted in here. When you see it says here are more Patreon lessons going over memorizing scales, mode shapes, etc. That's one that I do with people. At least stuff that's in there where help people like memorize their mode shapes and scales stuff like all over the fretboard. It's basically just like starting with, like, you want to start with getting the individual shapes memorized first. And then eventually, after you can do that, one after the next from memory, then I have people go up one, down the next, starting with the open string. And then do 5 strings at a time. And then 4 strings, 3 strings, 2 strings, and then 1 string at a time. So, yeah, and all that's covered in those Patreon lessons. How do you know which mode to use when soloing? Knowing the scale I use for the song, most likely it would be the chord progression is going to dictate the mode. It's the chord progression that will dictate the mode. So that's kind of what I was demonstrating earlier, like going between like the A5, G5, F5 thing. Like it's going to sound Aeolian because we start with the A5 and continue to come back to the A5. So we hear that, our ear is drawn to it, it's going to sound Aeolian. It doesn't have to be those specific chords. I mean, you could just do, like A5, C5, just like B augmented fifth. Stuff like that. Now, if you're just sitting there, your rhythm guitarist is chugging away on the A5, man, you got a lot of options because any mode using an A and an E note is acceptable. And that's talked about in some of that those videos there as well. So, yeah, that's almost getting to be a lengthy video once again there. So, as you may have gathered, This is a ton of information to go on. So please look through those videos I sent when you can. Take notes. See if what you're looking for is answered either here or especially those bigger videos. You want to start getting more into the theory side of things, we can, but hopefully that helps. So yeah, just take down notes. Any questions you still have, please let me know. Hope you're feeling better soon, and see you again in your new videos.